Good morning and welcome to Wuxing Qigong Taijiquan in Baguazhang. It's my live stream class. My name is Jeff Cote and I am the Occidental Taoist. A couple of weeks ago, we started back from the beginning, going through a cycle because we had finished going through the long form, which was a continuation from what we've been doing in Harvard in my Harvard class. This live stream was created for the time frame for them so that during this pandemic, that there would be a way for my Harvard students to continue to practice and have an ongoing class. And so this just represents a typical class. So, we spend a fair amount of time in our warm-up sessions. Last Tuesday, I went I think an hour and 20 or 25 minutes. I don't normally do that, but I lost track of time. I was really doing some good practice, and I was leading you guys through some great practice, and I was enjoying the practice, and time just flew, and I became unaware of it because I got pretty deep into some of the practices internally in my focus, which can happen, and this is how you end up practicing for 2 hours at a time, and it doesn't seem like a big deal. You never start off that way. If any of these sessions that I do seem long for you, it's okay to stop them and pick them up later. In fact, to build your skill and endurance, it is sometimes helpful to take a little, if you have a harder time doing some of the longer practices, stop, take a break, right? And then come back to it again the next later in the afternoon or the next morning if you have to. But ideally would be to break it up in one day, but still get that same amount of time. Okay. All right. Anyways, so we're going to start off today with our feet roughly shoulder width and parallel. Drop the tailbone, relax the spine. Align the 3 dantians, put the lower dantian directly under the middle and upper dantian. Create a nice open, relaxed column from the pelvic floor, the Hui Yin point, all the way up to the Bai Hui point at the top of the head. Stay soft and buoyant in your legs. You want your hips and knees to both have a fold, as though you could go straight out. That center line could move straight up and down through space. Right? All of that weight should go directly into the center of the triangles of the feet, and should be able to feel like a pretty good alignment from these Jiajang points here at the top of the shoulder, straight down through the right and left channels, all the way down to the ball and socket joints of the hips, and then to the triangles of the feet. Then we get a nice feeling of suspension from above, so there's a gentle upward energy and a gentle extension of the tailbone, so that we're reaching downward into the ground and up into the heavens, letting our center line and our spine elongate, and getting that strong feeling. That's called zhongding. It's that central equilibrium. Now, when you start getting more sophisticated in your practice, you'll start to notice what you can feel around the hips and on each side of the body. And there's rotational power, because we're using that whether we realize it or not, of the glutes and just the rotational power of the hip, just to be upright. And that if we use it according to the contours of the body, there's just this very subtle spiral from the ground up, and it supports right at the Ming Men in the low back. Meanwhile, there's a sense of receptivity down in here that connects the Hui Yin point through the yin channels all the way to the bubbling well point in the feet. And then if we get a gentle lift or sort of compression or condensing or gathering feeling in the lower dantian from the pelvic floor up, your urethral and rectal muscles, entire lower body cavity, just a gentle gathering in that supports the dantian, allows the qi to collect and condense. And we equalize the pressure of the whole body so we can arrive at a natural equilibrium. And we try to relax into that and open up the inside to allow ourselves to empty of tension and even intention, other than that one clear intention of upright, open and relaxed, strong and stable. We end up with calm and relaxed, basic principle, centered and grounded, whole and complete. We feel into the space we occupy from our center outward and back in, feeling ourselves as a whole, leaving no gaps in our awareness, on the inside and the outside of the body in our space. And the last is everything is alive, so it's active, but it's lively, so it's relaxed and soft. So there's no tension or holding. We don't want to be too active. We don't want to be too flaccid. We want everything to be alive and mobile. Place the tongue lightly on the roof of the mouth. Let the breath move in and out through the nose. Bring the hands in front of the lower Dantian. And we begin with an expansion, a feeling of the center expanding through us, learning to create that expanding intentionality and connecting it with the ground, because we have to push off of the ground. There's a sense of rootedness, a sense of extension and expansion. And at first, when I do this, I move more with the legs than I do as I practice more and more. I try to create that same extension without moving. So the pressure builds up. And through the condensing action here, it enters into the Dantian and spreads through the body. And we're going to reverse the movement. So as we inhale, our whole body condenses. So our whole body is breathing. It's called body breathing technique, where the whole body breathes inward and condenses towards the Dantian. As you exhale, everything expands from the Dantian out. We still have that gentle gathering, particularly with the pelvic floor. We never completely lose that, but we reduce that compression energy. right in. We're going to place the left hand on the dantian, right hand right on top of it. Just keep condensing. Before we do too much, we're going to go back into some other standing afterwards. We're going to go into bounces. Out and bounce. Keeping that sense of just that containment the whole time. We want to make that central. Pun intended and unintentional. It's there. And counter column swing, or counter swing rather. Column swing. Go around with directionality, rotation. And make sure when you're doing this, anytime you're doing this, you're not just doing it from the shoulder, you're doing it from this concept of the right and left channels working together. It comes out of the center and the center's relationship to the ground and the rest of the body. And counter column swing. Do a little Ling Kong Jing, as though there's that slight resistance. You're grounding and rooting, relax more and more, and that resistance coming out, forward, and on the whole circle, ultimately. Starting at Dan Tianwen. And up and chest up. Back down, and then we reverse the direction, starting from the center out. Okay, middle Taijiquan. And we're going to shift to one side, press down. Use this intentionality here. Press down with that right side and receive through the left, or other way, left and right, reverse if that's better for you. And shift and turn, under, and roll it back. To the first of the two dragon rolling pearl postures. And shift and turn. Rolling pearl to the other side. Remember, we're always working in that structure. Triangle of the foot through the center of the knee, ball and socket joint of the hip, jajang point, right? Expanding and receiving. Receiving one side, expanding on the other. Always having zhongding, that central equilibrium. And allowing yin and yang to flow freely. Learn to feel the yin channels of the body and the yang channels of the body. Learning to notice the directionality of their flow will help you find the perfect posture. And you can release the down on the outside, receive the up on the inside. And balance them perfectly with all of your, what happens is you've got all of these activities and you start aiming them all towards one thing. And eventually, as you work with it, you realize you can stop. You don't even have to hold that one thing because you're in line with something that's natural. It's already there. And now, all this effort you've taken has been just to aim you in some direction. You're using your own intent to get you there. And rolling back. Dragon rolling curl gets larger, that sort of bigger sphere between the hands until you can start to feel it is dragon playing in the clouds, which is really just this change back and forth between the yin and yang of the right and left channels. There's still the sense of the sphere, but now my focus is on the sphere of the space of my intention, which is my entire sort of three-dimensional sphere. But it also goes into the ground. It's, as much below me as it is above. My awareness and intention. Begins to work with heaven and earth. Dragon plays with the chi of heaven and earth. Including directionality around. So just that top bottom relationship comes back with dragon plays the clouds. Down. Smaller circle. With the hands anyways. Always within context of the larger sphere of our personal space. Our intention. Now we can reverse. Yeah, the sphere still. But I can go instead of front to back, work with dragonflies and clouds. This way. Pay attention. What I'm doing here is I'm working with the spirals on the right and left channels and their relationship to each other, but also their individual spirals. Spirals here in the hip, and spirals here in the shoulder. Back down to the small circle. Circling the palms over each other. This is a fantastic Qigong. Build up the Qi in the channels. We're only going to do a few passes. You can do a lot of these though. I usually like to do like 27 to each direction, numerous repetitions, but we'll just do about 9 or so here. And now we're going to rotate it to the other side. After that, dragon rolling curl and pulling chi. And gathering the chi. Shake it out. Now those are all fundamental. I consider them to be very important part of the training, and I feel like a lot of people miss the internal elements because they don't know how to get there. And learning to use your intention in this way can help you get there. Okay? At the same time, you have to constantly be working on the basic principles of calm and relaxed, centered and grounded, whole and complete, alive and lively. Never using force. I'm aware that I'm even if it's a forcefulness of mind intent, it's still a forcefulness. But at the same time, it's because I'm trying to generate energy that's viscerally real. Okay, that it could actually encounter resistance and have that inner power to move through. But I learned to do less and less and less. And it's a progressive way of training yourself to do this less and less and less and learn to connect with that intention and what the result of that intention is as it moves through your body and creates activation. Because there's intention, which is just this vague sort of thought around something, and then there's the intention or intent, which is the intention in action as it activates the body, as it activates engagement with something to create change. This is a very powerful feeling, awareness to learn to develop, and getting deeply in contact with your intent is very powerful and important part of training, particularly in internal styles, at least in the training that I underwent, and this Wuxing Long Pai system. All right, we're going to do the rest of the body, loosening, so hands, wrists, and fingers. Other way. Remember here, I've still got that idea that when my fingers go out, I'm pressing against the ground. Elbows. But I'm also receptive. That way, if there's resistance, that resistance is transferred through me to the ground. So if I encounter an actual substance, I don't fight with it and harden, but instead I absorb and receive that resistance and ground it. And I can extend with actual energy without tension. So they're coming up here getting ready to hay soon, and my dog is freaking out. So pardon me for one moment, I've got to go get him under control and put him in the house. Get in the house. Put him in there. Close the door. Thank you. Good boy, Finn. Thank you for listening. I'm back. Thank you for your forbearance. Good little break for your shoulders, if you haven't already. Other way. Patting chest and shoulders. Trunk twist from the center. Moving up those right and left channels. Just beneath the collarbone, the upper chest, opening the thymus and thyroid for vibration. Center of the chest lightly. Solar plexus, mid back. Mingmen and Dantian. Patting the waist. And the hips. Waist rotations, circling the daimai, getting that bowl shape of the pelvis to stay parallel to the ground so it doesn't tip and tilt. We don't want to be doing this as we come around. We want to try to make it move like this. Meanwhile, my awareness is moving around that daimai. And the other way. And we bring our awareness from that daimai down to the ball and socket joints of the hips. Widen the feet a little bit. Pull it open. Small circles on the one side. Other way. Other side. Other way. Both together, moving now with that horizontal relationship and the other way. Meanwhile, you should still have that gentle jing draw, that teasing gong, that gentle pulling up on the perineum, and feeling the pelvic floor as you move, as these two ball and socket joints move. You can get a lot of feeling and opening in there, and tension and circulation, or release of tension and increase of circulation. Away. The legs, patting the legs. Christian rubbing. Small circles with the knees. And then the other way. And deep bends. Heels stay down. Ankle and hip. Yeah, I'm doing less description of some of these things because I've done fairly thorough descriptions in the last couple of weeks. So now we start just moving through them. Foot and ankle. Other way. Brushing the grass. way. Behind. Other way. Leg up and out. Up to the side. And cross behind. Straight down. Rotate this. Knee to the chest. Knee down, heel back. Knee back, hip forward. Out and around. And when I mess something up from my tension, I go and do it again. Shake it out. Other side. Back to hip. Away. Foot and ankle. Other way. Brushing the grass. Other way. Behind. And the other way. Your leg up and out. To the side. And cross behind. Elongate the spine. And up. Into the chest. Heel back, knee down. Knee back, hip forward. Out and around. Back hip. Shake up the legs. Press the knees back. Elongate the spine. Flatten the back. Lift the sacrum. And fold at the waist. Turn to one side. The other side. Dragon circle the palm. center, squat stance, open the hips, elongate the spine. So for the next 2 days, it's going to smell amazing out here as they cut all this hay. And hands down, legs behind the elbows, and opening back and forth. Up, roll the spine up. And dragon spine. Serpentine articulation. Today with our dragon spine, we're going to focus on the abdominal coming in as well as the back. Learning to work both front and back. And wild horse shakes his head. Alrighty. So what we're going to do form-wise is I'm going to do it facing the camera. You can mirror or not as you like. Doesn't really matter. We're going to go through the first sort of mini form, that 4 moves each side, one time through. And then we're going to go through the first 4 moves and then add 1 move each time. We're going to keep repeating that to start building the next set, the 8 moves to each side. We've done part of it, but I want to kind of just build it and let you get enough repetition in those as you work up. Okay, so we'll do that again. So we start at the very beginning, one time through the little micro form that we have so far. Feet together, tongue lightly touching the roof of the mouth, central equilibrium, sitting down into my stance. I have nice soft buoyancy here. Again, the sleeping dragon awakens to find the root. Taiji beginning. Reflecting left and right. Roll back. Press. Pounds and more. Taiji reverse. Reflecting right and left. Roll back and press. More to pound some more. Close. Now we're doing the same thing up to that first immortal pounds and mortar. And then we're going to move into split and open, crossing the hands to look to the right. So it's really split, open, and look to the right. It's the name of the move, but there's couple of things in there that we do. So let's start from the very beginning again. Feet together. We've got a good central equilibrium. We can feel the triangles at both feet. Good central equilibrium right up through the yin channels, up through the center line, all the way to Bai Fei. Yang channels are responsive. Sleeping Dragon awakens to find the root. At the beginning. Left and left. Press. Immortal pounds and more. Split and open. Cross the hands and look to the right. Go from the beginning again. This time to squeeze, press, and push, which is the next move. Sleeping Dragon awakens to find the root. At the beginning. Roll back. Push. Press right. Sorry. Immortal. That's immortal. Split. Open. Cross the hands and look to the right. Squeeze. Press. Push. Now, we haven't done much explanation of that yet. So I want to do from the Immortal Pounds and Mortar through to that point. We're going to talk about, I'm going to just kind of briefly explain kind of where your intentions are, your weight balance, etc. Okay? So we start from the end of Immortal Pounds and Mortar. We've got split and open. We talked about this kind of receptive down, but still present, reaching like the outward reach to receive, and that spiraling up, expansion. Then they work together to unwind. You see how this one's rolling this way as I fold here. Meanwhile, hip and shoulder are working together here, up, for this sort of spiraling up. Both hip opens, shoulder opens. They both roll open. Okay. Again, split. Meanwhile, receptive, 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 and receptive, rolling in. Even though my arm is coming up and around, and it's even I've got an expansion, the rotation here is a release of yin channels, yin sides. Okay. Receptive, expansive. Crossing the hands. This is essentially the same movement as I do here. basically do the same thing, except this hand isn't going to make a big spiral. It's going to make a very small one, where this one makes essentially the same. And it transforms from this big split open. This is an exaggeration of the movement. So it's like one big spiral. Then heel to heel. This is for learning to get your position. Bring it in, heel touches heel, straight out. Notice I just sink a little and drop the heel. I want to learn to get that feel. What is natural here, not that. If you develop good pliability, strength, and ground, you'll be able to sink lower if you want. For now, learn to get that proper feel. Here, and as that comes down, I sink with it, and then I rotate in. This hand comes in, and this one supports. Now I'm going to squeeze into this space right here, and then continue that energy. Receptive, expansive. Receptive, expansive. Let's take it from here. Squeeze, press. Then sink right down and rotate. Think of it as sinking in, almost like you're going to sink that heel in, extend, make a wave. We're trying to borrow the power of gravity here along with that expansion. And it's the culmination of this expansion and release. They're all tied together. Here, step, squeeze and press. And this one, here to the center. Reason for that is I want this to remind me to become very receptive and really expand down on the next move. We're not going to get to that yet because I really want to examine these couple of moves from the split and open. Let's do that again. Split, open, cross the hands, look to the right. Squeeze, press, push. See where we are on time? I want to go terribly over like I did yesterday or Tuesday. I can't even see that because of the sun glare. Yep. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. That's what I thought. I thought we were pretty close. I don't want to overload you anyways. I think that's pretty good to work on. So, quick review of just basic mechanics. Remember, in sequence, split and open. Notice from the center, split and open. The center is doing everything. Its relationship with the legs. And that yin and yang exchange. Cross the hands and look to the right. Squeeze, press, and push. Okay? Work with that for the next couple days and we'll see where we go. All right? Sure. Thank you guys for joining me. If you want to help support my work, you can go to my coffee page. That's ko-fi.com/Occidental Taoist. I also have a Patreon page where I have exclusive member-only content. You can go become a member and get access to a whole bunch of videos that I've created. And that's patreon.com/Occidental Taoist. And I have a whole bunch of live streams I've done, not just here on YouTube, which you can find here on my YouTube channel, but also on Facebook. And again, on Facebook, you just look up the Occidental Taoist and I'll pop up. And I've literally got probably, I don't know, maybe 80, 90, I'm not even sure, videos of live stream Qigong lunchtime lessons that I did before it got super hot. I'm really looking forward to that. Probably in September, I'm thinking it'll cool down again and I'll be able to add in some lunchtime lessons in Qigong again. They'll probably be really, kind of short encapsulated little lessons because I've got to, with my schedule slowly coming back, I'm going to have to try to fit these things in where I can. Okay. But they'll still be great little lessons for you, little Qigong practices that are self-contained and great individual practices, but they're less of a longer sequence like we've been doing, even though a half hour is not terribly long. All right. Again, thank you guys very much. May you have many blessings of radiant health and a peaceful, happy heart. Thank you.